In this module, we're going to start taking a really good look at denial of service tools and services. And this is going to give you a good insight into how these attacks are actually mounted. So we've already looked at attack techniques, so the mechanics behind things like HTTP flood attacks or layer 4 attacks. We know how those work now. Let's use this module to actually have a look at some of the tools that are commonly used by attackers. So that's what we're going to cover. Let's jump in and start by taking a look at the overview. One of the first things I want to make pretty clear up front in this module is that normally when we're talking about DOS attacks, the attacker is not sitting down there and coding this from scratch. If they want to mount, say, a SYN flood attack, they're not going to sit down there and write the code by hand to go and begin those TCP SYN requests. What they're more likely to do is go out and use something that's already been created. So for example, they'll grab existing tools that they can run locally, and then they can mount the attack themselves. As we go through this module, we're going to look at a really good example of a very, very common tool used for just this purpose. And we'll also talk about how the use of that tool is orchestrated to go from a DOS attack to a DDoS attack. More and more frequently these days, though, when someone wants to mount a denial of service attack, they're going out and using services. So someone else is actually running distributed denial of service as a service, and then consumers of that service are then going and procuring DDoS attacks. So it's a very turnkey solution, and just as many other software products these days are moving to as a service, so that is where someone else runs it for you, so are denial of service attacks. And in fact, in this module, I'm going to show you exactly how one of those works. Now, particularly with DDoS as a service, we'll often see them running behind what I refer to here as a thin veil of legitimacy. They're not attacker tools, they're quote unquote performance testing tools. And I'm going to show you how attackers try to position these tools, how they are anything but performance testing tools, and then I'll even show you what a legitimate performance testing tool looks like, just so there is no ambiguity whatsoever about what these services do. So that's what we're going to cover. Let's jump into it and start looking at the first tool, and that's Loik.